All right, looks like it's working now. Welcome, everyone. I'm happy to see so many faces at 4 p.m. Actually, 10 past 4 on a Thursday. I hope you're not too tired. I am very tired, so excuse me if my English is going to be a little bit sloppy. I'm Pietro, so we have 20 minutes, so I'm going to try, and this talk was made for like an hour and a half talk. So I'm going to try to be very fast, go through things very briefly. And then if you have any questions or you want to go or to chat with me, we can do it after. You can find me at the bar as usual. So I've said already that I'm Pietro. I'm going to skip through what we've done. In Striker Games, we do video games, as many of you. We've done a few things in the past, as you can see now with the with the text. We are working on a few new things, which is exciting nowadays. And I'm here to talk about the developer wish list, I call it. But basically, this talk came from the idea. I was talking with some publishing friends, and I was talking about how good it always has been for us developers to have publisher helping us presenting ourselves and telling us how they like us to pitch to them. And it always been very, very helpful for me. I started pitching games, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and I was not good at it. If I look back now at my presentations back then, it's like embarrassing, honestly. And we were talking about this, and he was like, why don't you do the reverse pitch? Why don't you tell us what you as a developer want to know before even talking to us? I'm like, this is interesting. I spoke with hundreds of publishers in the last couple of years, and there are a few things that never comes out at the first conversation, sometimes not even at the fourth conversation, and you end up losing and wasting both your and their time if you don't know that things before. It would be very helpful. So it's going to be a list of questions. You're going to find this question probably very basics, but I have no idea how many times I didn't have an answer to these questions. So let's take it from here. And the first easy question is like, as a publisher, what games are you looking for? It seems a simple question, but it's actually very difficult to find out before at least the first meeting. And it helps me in two ways. It helps us developers in two ways. One is finding the right publisher. I always been asked to do my homework and find the right publisher for the right game. But it's very difficult to do so if I don't know what the publisher is looking for. And the second thing is also it helps us tailor our pitch to that publisher. Not meaning that as a developer, you should change your vision for a specific publisher just because you like him. But you can always do a few things, even just on the pitch, to be a little bit more cheeky, maybe, and gain their interest. But if I don't know what they are looking for, that it's difficult. And there are a few very cool tools that can help you in doing that. I'm here. I have Impress. I have GameDiscover.co, Gameanalytics. You can put every filter you want, and you can have a look at what publishers have done in the past, which is not necessarily what they're looking for now. It happened to me a few years ago. I was talking with a friend that was a friend, like a publisher friend. We are never really friends. And he was like, oh, cool, you're working on this multiplayer game, blah, blah. Why haven't you pitched to us? I was like, man, you are well known to work in, this publisher was very focused on narrative games. There's no, why should I do it? It's like, oh, no, we're actually looking for multiplayer games now. Ooh, and how did I know? It's like, you're talking with me now. Yes, but there is a lot of other developers that might want to talk with you now. So it's difficult for us in that regard. So it would be very helpful if I can just go online or see something somewhere saying, oh, we are looking for this genre or that genre. And if we are looking for every genre, then maybe you have something else that you're looking for, which is also, again, interesting. And on a similar note, another basic question is what budget are you looking for? If you are doing usually a mid-to-match event, then that information is usually there, like a range, which is very good. But outside mid-to-match, it's very difficult to understand that, and even more difficult to imagine that. I see what like a publisher is doing and is publishing and is signing. It's impossible for me to guess the scale of the deal. And it happened to me to pitch to publisher with like a 500,000 project. And this publisher were looking for over 5 million projects. And that was like already the second meeting we were talking. I was like, I think I just wasted your time here. It happened to me to pitch 3 million projects to publishers that were looking for maximum 500,000 projects. Maybe it's bad on me that they didn't realize it before, but if you can just tell me pretty much the scale, it don't only help me saying, listen, I don't think this conversation makes sense, but also if I'm in a similar range, I can also adjust my budget, my timeline, because we always present, if we do things properly, a timeline and a budget. And if it's not exactly what you're looking for, and we know we can play around with that, then I can come to the first meeting with everything that's good for you, or at least all along, like in the same ballpark. And now there is the back of money. Release strategies. Early access, as you all know, is a hot topic for developers for some reasons. I personally think that early access should be a situational decision. So it has something like it's a decision that should come along the way. Like there is enough traction. Are we on track? Like fine. But for many, many developers, early access is something very important. And I think if you do, sorry, I'm going to stop here. How many of you are actually from the publishing industry? Good. How many of you are like developers? Good. The rest of you are just here from the previous talk. Anyway, yeah. So as developers, we really care about it. And as a publisher, I think if you are comfortable with early access and you're open to it, then it's something very useful to say, because you can actually attract the attention from developers that really wants to do early access. If you don't want to do early access, fair enough. I see you. I hear you. But say it, so you don't waste time with a team that's going to pull out just because they really want to do early access for some weird reason. And the same thing is with the release. It happened to me all the time to present a roadmap and a budget again, which was not considering simultaneously release. And then I got asked, but we just do simultaneous release. Can you go back, redo the budget, redo the roadmap? I come back, which is fine. I'm not like, it's not a problem to do that, but that means that we're gonna wait another 4 days, a week, and then have another meeting and then discuss that instead of having discussed that before. To the developers, I would recommend to be prepared with both. So you have 2 slides, you ask them, and then you pick the right one. But still, it's an information that would be very helpful for us to have beforehand, so we can plan around that. Because otherwise, I'm telling you, oh yes, my game is 1 million, but if it's simultaneous release, it's going to be probably 1.3 something. And let's go on with this list. What services do you offer? I would say 90% of the website is like all services, which is fine. But what I usually want to understand is that where is your value as a publisher? Why are you a better publisher than someone else? If you are a big name, a big brand, actually all of this list doesn't really matter, because I want to work with you anyway. But if you are a smaller publisher, a new publisher, or something that is still working to get there, then for me, it's very important to understand why I should talk with you. And maybe it comes out that you are very good at something, or you have a good strategy or something that catch my attention. It's like, oh, I don't know this publisher, but I think it would be very interesting to talk with him. And I'm going to take the time to talk with him rather than maybe talking with someone else. It's a difficult question to answer, honestly. I know, like for every business. But I'm pretty sure that if you are building a solid business, you have the answer. So just put it out there. And another maybe difficult question, I don't know. It's like, I would like to know if you are a full like in-house publisher, or if you are like a 4-people operation that works with other contractors or agencies, which is totally fine. But if you think you're working with like cool agencies and cool kids around, maybe you should say it. Because maybe I don't know you, but I know the PR agency you're working with. And like, oh, they're working with the cool guys. Maybe they are cool. What's happening? Here you go. This, it's something that came out in the last year and a half, probably. I had meetings with publishers, and then I found out that they were not signing games at the third meeting, which I hope it's just the current situation, so it's not going to be for long. But if you're not signing games, it would be nice to know it, because I might want to. I like to meet people. I think the first meetings is just to create relationship more than signing games, and so it's fine. But if I'm in a situation in which I really need to sign a game now, and I know you're not signing games, let's have a coffee, let's have a beer. But I really need to talk with someone that has the money and wants to go on. Release windows is similar. If you're not signing games for the next 2 years, good for you. But if I need to sign something for the next year, then there's no reason for us to meet. And sometimes it goes the other way around for you, in a sense that if you, like, I have many projects, I'm trying to build many projects at a time, and I might have something that's going to release in 27, or it could work because we can move things around. So if I know that, it's like, oh, we could present this project there with this plan. Again, very helpful. It's all stuff that sooner or later comes out in the conversation, but if we know it before, then we can be much more prepared at the first meeting and be more efficient. You have a lot of meetings, more than us. So it's also probably doing a favor more to you than us. I mean, I know the answer here, but still, if you for any reason are more willing to sign before the last 6 months before the release, it's also something very attractive to a developer. Like, we do prototype funding. Great, everyone's going to be there, even if they don't know you and you just started your publishing business yesterday. Or like, we have green lighting or gates, cool, like prototype. So we could give you a bit of money, then the end of the prototyping phase, we're going to say if it's worth or not. Super nice to know. Again, you're going to have a lot of developers coming to you. And this is an asterisk, because this is a difficult question, and I guess that, and it's something also that can come out later on in the conversation. And I'm asking specifically also to the publisher to give me feedback on this question, because it's something for me and should be for every developer very important. But I don't know how comfortable are you with this question, and so I don't want to be, when I talk with someone, I don't want to be rude or anything. But given the current situation, it's important to me to understand where the money is coming from, because if it's like a year project together, fine. But if you're talking about maybe 3 years together, I want to be sure that there is some kind of stability. Or also, it's fine if there's not, but at least I know it, and I can plan accordingly, and I can knowingly take a risk. But if I don't know where the money is coming from, it's very difficult for me to sign something. So all of these questions, I don't expect, or it would be amazing if they were stated on a website. But I guess some of this answer might be your competitive advantage, or you don't want to share this information. Fine, but why don't having a small pitch that you can send us in the same way that we send you a pitch? I guess it's difficult, again, to publicly state some stuff, but you can always send a private pitch or NDA something, and then we can start the conversation from there. Now, a couple of points that I care about, but they are a little bit different, is the build. I get why you always ask us for a build. It's fair. It's very fair. It's not just fair. What I never managed to do is, most of the time, I don't get a no. I get oh, come back in a few months and show me what you've done. which is fine. But I would really love to get, like, most of the time we don't have the time or the budget, unfortunately, to constantly iterate on a vertical slice, on a prototype, or on a build. But we might have time and budget to adjust a few things. So if you see something that it's a deal breaker for you and it's 1, 2 things, it would be very helpful for us to know that. So we might be able to work on those things and maybe convince you that it's a good game. If you think it's just not a good game, tell us it's not for us. Go on. Sometimes it happens. Most of the time it doesn't. And yeah, if you are seeing this basic list of stuff and you say, oh, we do that, then you're a great publisher. You don't need this. But if some of these things are things that you're not doing, I hope this talk is gonna help a little bit understanding what we are looking for, at least on like a first level. And yeah, it's very important for me and for all of us to build relationship, to work together as a team. There is no slide, but there's an added bonus for you guys, which is try to find the time to talk with us. Having like a 30-minute speech, it's difficult. It's difficult for everyone, but it's a good starting point. But then maybe the next meeting, try just to have fun, like the time to have a good chat and talk about like not necessarily just the game, the budget, the roadmap, but also like how do you work, what do you do, what's your vision, how's life? Because that's the best way to build a relationship and also to sign deals. Like, you know it better than I do, but sometimes I find myself doing these meetings that are almost alienating. And then my exciting for working with that person or publisher, it goes like under the floor, let's say, so to say. All right. I've been fast because I wanted to have a bit of QA, but we started a bit late, so we have 5 minutes, maybe one question if there is. So otherwise, we can all go to the bar a bit sooner. Yeah, I see. Let's go to the bar. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Almost there. Last second. Go for it. Okay. Shout at me. Okay.
Thanks for the talk. Have you ever thought about not going to publishers, maybe self-publish or Kickstarter crowdfund? And
yes.
And how did they go? Did it go well? I
mean, we've done both.
Okay.
And I would say it's a typical question, right? It really depends on what you're looking for. Where is your expertise? I would say publishers are great for teams that don't want to bother with all that stuff. Like, I don't care about marketing. I don't care about a lot of things. I just want to create a great game, and then I want someone else to work with me to sell it. If you feel like you know your ways, you know what you do, and you have the funding, then maybe self-publishing could be your way. You need to sell less copies if you don't have a publisher, of course. But the balance is always between, I mean, let's be honest here. The first thing is funding. If you don't have the funding, it's either you find someone that do project funding, but to convince someone that does project funding to give you the money for the production and the marketing or publishing part, then you have to be very on top of your game and know what you're doing on the publishing side. No one's going to give you like $1 million for a production and 200, 300K on top for marketing if you're not convincing them that you know how to spend that money well. So if you take funding out of the conversation, so let's say you have the funding because you've done a great game and you have the money, then it's more about what you like to do and what you feel like you're good at. And if publishing and marketing is not the answer, then publisher could help in that regard. You can also work with white label publishers, which means that they do all the publishing bit and you pay them rather than working on a revenue share deal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's see you all at the bar. Thank you for being here.